Okay. Uh, but we are not late actually. So greetings from Baku, Azerbaijan. It's wonderful to welcome all of you, wherever you are joining us from. And before we begin, just please let us know where you are joining us from. Write in the chat, please, because we'd love to see all the countries represented tonight. And welcome to another webinar in our Informed Voices Media Literacy series. But before we start, just a few quick reminders. Please feel free to post any questions in the chat because at the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session where we'll try to answer all the questions. And also, we'll share a short quiz after the presentation. So please listen carefully because you can hear the answers to some of the questions in the quiz. And now it's my great pleasure to welcome today's distinguished guest, Miss Irene Andriopoulou from Greece. She has such an impressive professional journey that it's hard to know where to begin. And we are truly honored to have her with us tonight. Now I will try to introduce her in more detail. So, Irene is a media and cultural policy analyst with more than 20 years of experience in media and information literacy, creative industries, and public policy. She serves as director of the Education and Heritage Unit at EKKOMED, the Hellenic Film and Audiovisual Center, and is also the executive director of CIFEJ, the International Center of Films for Children and Young People. Throughout her career, she has collaborated with organizations including UNESCO, the European Commission, the Council of Europe, and the OSCE as a consultant, researcher, and policy expert. She has been actively involved in shaping media literacy policies across Europe and beyond, and received UNESCO's first Global Media and Information Literacy Award in 2023. She's also a published author and international speaker and a PhD candidate at the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona, where her research focuses on media and information literacy policies. Irene, thank you for joining us today, and we are delighted to have you with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shalala. Thank you for inviting me to present at the STEP Azerbaijan Network, which, as I understand, is an educational network, a teacher educational network. So I'm pretty honored to presenting to you today what is happening in Greece, in Europe, and globally. I would like to start from a question that you posed, where to start. Well, it started for me over 20 years ago. It was in 2004. I was a young researcher, media researcher at that time, and I was working for a Greek research organization, national research organization. My background is mainly media and communication studies, but this is where I first met with the term of media literacy and how it was related to education. Coming from a media and communications background, social studies, I knew everything about journalism, media promotion, all the channels of communication and models of communications. But the challenge for me on working with media literacy was how to translate these theories, social theories, to the audience at large, to the public, to the citizens, and not just for journalists and media professionals. So this is where it all kicked for me. It was a relatively very new cognitive theory and cognitive school of research. So this is where it started for me over 20 years ago. And ever since, I have been devoted and closely related with media literacy in all of the aspects. Today, I will be talking to you with some practical exams, but starting with policies, and then what's happening on a global scale, mainly through the work of UNESCO, and then with some evidence-based practices coming from Greece and the national organization EKKOMED. Let me try and share the screen now. You can see it. You can see it in full screen. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, it's great.
Okay, the title of my presentation today is Bridging Multiliteracies Under the Creative and Critical Prism in the Attention Economy Era. Each of these words and notions have a very significant meaning in today's digital era that we're all living. So it's not about critical literacy only. It is about critical media literacy. It is about creative literacy, how to create responsibly content, and how this all relates to the attention economy era. Let me start with a practical, with an exercise. I used to do it in the classroom with the students, but also with teachers. So this is an icebreaker exercise, and I will share with you on the chat the worded out. I'm not sure whether you know it or not. Let me stop sharing. So. This is a very nice exercise. You can also do it in the classroom with your students to make them more engaged and to start with their opinions, with their points of view. So if you click on the word it out, this is where we can put some words. And what kind of words? The main question is, what is the first thing, the first word that comes into mind when talking about media literacy and education? So I would love to have some suggestions from you on the chat. And at the end, I will collect all these suggestions from you and I will create a very nice diagram on the word it out. So let's say 30 seconds. You can also use your microphones if they're on to share with us these words.
Okay, I think we should give them some time.
Let's start with Shalala. What's the first word that comes into mind when thinking about media literacy and education?
Critical thinking, maybe evaluating.
Evaluating. This
Mhm.
is, a deeper context.
Yes.
Evaluating. Critical thinking. Anything else? Think how it is related to today's modern day society. And all this interaction with social media, with the information overload. Any other words? Well, we can certainly continue, and then you can put all your words after the presentation on the chat, and then I will create a new word it out. Is that okay?
We have metaphors here.
Okay, so I will collect all of these words at the end and to see how you think about media literacy from your own perspective, from your own experience. It's a very nice exercise, not just an icebreaker, but to get an overall context of your audience and whether, what is their approach on the issue that we're dealing. There's not wrong or right approach. It's just your point of view, your approach, and all these can be incorporated in the whole media literacy discussion. So the first part of my presentation is about media literacy theories. So I will mainly talk about what is happening in Greece, but what are the main school of thoughts that critical media literacy is related with. In Greece, generally speaking, we approach media literacy from a holistic, interdisciplinary, intercultural, cross-cutting approach, especially in schools. The main question in school is are we teaching through the media or with the media? And what was first and what that follows? For instance, in Greece, we used media literacy, and we spoke through the media. So we use them as tools to speak about other cognitive subjects in the classroom, and then media platforms or tools or channels were the facilitator. But now the discussion has gone deeper, and we're talking about what do we do with the media? What do we do with this influencing mechanism and these powerful mechanisms that are generally referred to as the fourth power in every country. So they have a significant power, and now it's time to analyze and go deeper, discussing with the media. By and large, media and information skills, this is a holistic and umbrella approach, and this is something that I created some years ago. So the three main pillars of media and information literacy are, we approach it as a human rights element. This is mainly the UNESCO approach. So it has to do with the foundational right of freedom of expression, the right to have access to quality content and quality information, and the right to be active digital citizens. It is also an elementary part of the knowledge societies. So this is more related to the school media literacy and developing elementary skills on how to analyze, access, approach, analyze, and filter media messages. But also this continues as a lifelong learning skills. Media literacy today, there are life skills. So we continue to develop our skills as being media literate, not just in school, but in lifelong learning settings. And then it is also serious defense mechanism. If we have developed good media literacy skills, this is our own defense mechanism, and it has to do with disinformation, combating fake news, and how to develop a critical visual analysis in the popular culture and content, mainly through social media. So these are the 3 C's in education. This is our main approach in Greece on all the media literacy activities we are designing. So we have the critical approach, the cultural approach, and the creative approach. All 3 approaches are interconnected and interrelated, and one leads to another. The most popular of these 3 approaches is the creative approach when we're talking about Greece and what we are designing here at EKKOMED. So the creative approach has to do with the audiovisual media literacy, with creating content in the classroom with the students themselves, and the teachers being mainly not just the trainers, but the facilitators of the whole procedure. We are based on the inquiry model, such as the one that David Buckingham introduced many years ago. We challenge students to pose their own questions about the content of what they're seeing online, of the image, of the information, of news, rather than providing the answers themselves. So it's all about questioning the popular culture and all the information messages in it. Of course, it offers group collaborative learning. It offers a textual, contextual, intertextual analysis with other media platforms and content, and is related to audience reception and media studies. Let's have a look at these approaches in more detail. So the first approach, the critical approach, is where the student in the classroom becomes a content evaluator. So this has to do with him engaging deeper with meaning making on a deeper critical analysis of the content on any platform. We're looking on explicit versus latent content. We are exploring, studying the formula, the standardized structures, the language choices, the suggestive images, the experiential viewing. And on the second level, we go a deeper level where we compare what we are studying. Let's say it's a film narrative versus literature narrative. So what if this film story that we are watching is also being written in a book, is based on literature? So what are the differences and what are the different approaches on storytelling, on telling the same story, but on a different medium? This is very challenging and very good because you combine book literature and audiovisual film culture. Then we can also discuss and compare different films of the same director, creator, and we can discuss of different directorial approaches of a specific film genre, for instance. This critical approach can be adapted to either image education, it can be on a film or video, on a moving image, on a non-moving image, on a TV series. We can talk about animation, documentaries, any other visual elements. The second approach has to do with the cultural approach. So it is about the intercultural dialogue that I talked to you in the beginning. So this is where the student becomes a researcher, and they are challenged to go outside the classroom and go to pay visits to archives, library, museums, and explore about the issue they have watched or the issue they are dealing with online. For instance, let's say they have watched a short film or an animation. What is this animation related to? Can we find any other similar animations telling the same story? Can we search and familiarize ourselves with the audiovisual archives of our institution, of our country? Are there any national digital repositories? We can go and look there. So it's all about conducting research and finding similar interpretations about the issue of our study, the media that we are studying. So it can be either a micro approach based on the film, on the media product, but also a macro approach, because we can learn so many things about watching a film, a TV series, about our history of our country at the time it was made. This is just a collection of Greek animation, rare Greek animation we have developed and saved in Greece. So we use them for film screenings in the classroom. Next approach is the creative approach, where the student becomes a creator, so they can be either media makers or filmmakers. This is the most popular, as I told you, in Greek classroom because it combines happy knowledge and experiential viewing. So this is where the students, they experiment themselves with short film production, and they are actively engaged with all the development and production stages. And also they can provide and imagine new ways of storytelling. Let's say we have watched a short film, we can describe and imagine the same story if it was in a comic book or if it was a painting. So how was the message transferred through a different medium? Second part has to do with the policy. Just a brief discussion and description of what is happening to Greece. So in Greece, we have EKKOMED, which is the merge. This is a new national organization supervised by the Ministry of Culture, and it's the outcome of the merge of two Greek national organizations on film and media, the Greek Film Center and the National Center for Audiovisual Media and Communication. These two came into one 2 years ago, and now we have an Uber actor on cultural and creative industries. We do not only deal with media education and media literacy. This is just one segment, one part of all the activities we're doing. And most of them, sorry, have to do with promoting national audiovisual media, film, and creative policies to highlight Greece's modern cultural identity. Now being in charge of the Education and Heritage Unit, we're doing a variety of things, and we're working combining audiovisual heritage with media education in schools and in lifelong learning context. Our main concern is how to develop a critical youth audience with a critical attitude towards all media environments and the content. And we're trying to do that with developing, designing educational initiatives for school, for teachers, for students, for parents, or for young media professionals. We also published our first media and information literacy white paper back in 2018. You can access it in English. And as I told you, we're working mainly with screen and film literacy, and all these lead to creative media literacy. Our target group, there we have students, of course, but as I told you, we have young media professionals, ambassadors, media ambassadors. We have been working closely with the media industry for some co-regulation initiatives. We're working with curriculum teachers development, schools and schools with special needs and students with special needs. So to put it in more detail on what do we mean with creative and audiovisual media literacy, this is where we are trying to develop a policy that will act as an empowering approach for all young students. So we want to empower kids and young people who we call as screenagers, and we want to use their experience in new digital media settings, explore the challenges. We want their creative engagement, as I told you, for producing quality content, develop concrete visual literacy skills, become screen-wise viewers, sorry. And so all these will lead to advanced critical media skills that are much needed today with the AI challenges and they are all part of future literacies. You can see here the fields, the specific fields of media literacy that we're dealing with. Now, this is just an overview of the educational programs that we are running in schools. And these educational programs that we are developing in cooperation with the Ministry of Education, they are being adopted cross-curricularly. They're also adopted as a thematic program in secondary education mainly. They are in line with the EU Digital Education Action Plan, and they could be projects, they could be innovation days, skills labs, etc. And in non-formal lifelong learning settings, we work closely with the youth and kids festivals, film festivals mainly, organizing workshops on media and film literacy, supporting civic society, and working closely on thematic weeks, mainly with UNESCO and EU. And all these encapsulate our main approach on learn by doing methodology, which is about critical thinking, media expression, and communication. These are, you can see here, the ecology of media and information literacy by UNESCO. So we are enforcing this ecology, and we're mainly focused on digital active citizenship with social cohesion and disinformation, combating disinformation. As I told you, critical media literacy has to do with content analysis, creative literacy with content creation, screen visual education, the screen-wise viewer, social inclusion, awareness, freedom of expression, media pluralism dimensions, AI and new digital intelligence, how they are combined with, and of course, the digital well-being and ethical use of media content. Third part is about global policies. When EKKOMED actually was launched, established back in 2017, one of the first challenges was how to connect with the international global community on media and information literacy. So this is where we established this close cooperation with UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Alliance. And one of the first initiatives we co-designed together was the MIL Pact. This is like an online agreement on thinking critically and thinking wisely. This is something that it is available in many languages, and you can distribute it in the classroom with your students. And this is something that could spark a discussion on the ethical use of being an online user, of using content sharing online. So it's very good on having an ethical approach and an ethical behavior online, an etiquette, as they say. You are welcome to register to the Global UNESCO MIL Alliance community. This is a network consisted of individual memberships and organization memberships. This is free. You can register in an easy application process online. And so you are becoming part of this global community where there are chances for networking, sharing your projects, sharing your own perspectives, get inspired from what other countries are doing. So I would strongly recommend to explore it and become members. If you become a member, then you can all take part to the Global MIL Week celebrations taking place every year, the last week of October. This year, they don't have one feature conference, but the title is We All Play a Part on Media and Information Literacy for People. So this year, UNESCO launches a decentralized approach, bringing together a series of regional and thematic events organized all over the world by UNESCO offices. So you can stay tuned and look on UNESCO MIL Alliance website about the events that are happening in your region, in your country. You can also, Shalala, organize your own event and promote it in the next UNESCO Global MIL Week. Moving on with part D, this is the part with the evidence-based approach. These are the practices that we are introducing and practicing in school, starting from preschool age, kindergarten, working with primary and secondary school education students. This is one of the first projects we initiated. These are the film study guides available in Greek on some short films, and on Paddington and Courgette, some popular European films. So we developed these film study guides that they are addressing the teachers, and this is where they can implement these study guides in the classroom, also through watching the films. The films are not available from the program itself, but you can find them online, or you can assign your students to watch the films from streaming platforms, and then get back the next day and discuss about the content and the context. Another very successful program we are running for many, many years. I have been part of this school complex since 2010, but from EKKOMED, we are part from 2018. So this is a very popular short film school context entitled Have You Studied Cinema? And this is where we ask students of all school levels to create their own short film. This can be feature films, documentaries, or animation. The theme is free to choose. They can choose whatever theme they want. And every year we receive an average of 250 or 300 short film productions, student productions. This is a very good repository, not just on filmmaking, but on on studying and exploring the popular themes that the students themselves choose to portray through these films. So back in the day, it was all about the Greek crisis 10 years ago. Then it was about bullying online. Now it is about, then after that, it was about the pandemic. We received so many films about the pandemic and the impact to their daily school life, school interruption. After that, it was about social media and all the mobile phones and excessive use. And now it's about digital well-being and how. So it's their point of view on the current challenges on media literacy. Next, this is a project we developed some years ago, but the study guides are available, freely available from our website. It addressed secondary education school students, approximately 9,000 students, and it was actually a quiz with 6 dimensions of media and information literacy. So we had questions, online quiz, and questions about technology, reception studies, production and diffusion of content, language and semiotics, ideology behind the media messages, and aesthetics, a more visual approach. Another very popular project has to do with animation, because animation is very popular in preschool, in primary education, in all school levels, and parents and families as well. So we have developed a synergy with the Takorama Film Festival. It was an online film festival, and there we organized 12 award-winning animated short films without words, no words. They are divided in 4 categories, and these are the films that you can freely watch through EKKOMED's platform, and they come along with specific study materials for teachers and for students. So this is something that you can either watch in the classroom, because they are short films, animation. They are 3-4 minutes long. So this is something you can freely watch in the classroom. And since there are no words, you have the film language and the visual language that is easy to interpret in any country and any setting. That's why they were so popular, and they are divided per age, and these feed this cognitive chain on watch, reflect, and create. If they want to create, it's not obligatory. Just some statistics from this highly popular project. We have had over 52,000 children participating, not just from Greece, but from other countries, from Asia, or regions, Asia, America, Europe, and Africa. You can find the tool available online and downloaded. Another project has to do with young media professionals. If you want to create a media workshop, and specifically an animation workshop. So this is available in Greek, but we can work together if you're interested, because it has some very good steps. It's a guide on how to organize a student animation workshop, either as part of your classroom or of a cultural event. Then we have this special program on cinema and digital well-being. There is a lot of discussion on the digital well-being right now on EU and global level. So cinema therapy is our own project dealing with the psychological engagement and a more sentimental engagement on the screen, the content on screen. This is a very good case study. I think it could be relevant, like the STEP Azerbaijan network, because it's the national school network of media and information literacy. We are working with the Ministry of Education, and we are conducting online trainings. It's a train-the-trainer network. So we're conducting online and sometimes on-site trainings, and we offer a wide range of resources, handbooks, booklets, video, and archives of all interdisciplinary projects of media literacy. These are the topics that the teachers themselves, they have applied throughout the years after these trainings we conducted with them. So they have mainly talked about media literacy holistically, film literacy, gaming literacy, advertising literacy, very popular, library literacy, internet literacy, and digital literacy. And then we have CineDo. This is our digital platform of film education in schools. This is about watching a film online, and then also using a dedicatedly made educational material for each film per se. And it's also coming along with an educational video. We have 97 films, and we have bought the copyrights for 5 years. And of course, this is very popular because this is where you also provide them the content. Not just the exercise and the study guides, but the content per se. And then our last very popular school competition has to do with gamification in the classroom. So we invite the students with the help of their teachers as facilitators to create either board games or digital games in the classroom. So this enhance their creativity, their team spirits. They develop themselves very innovative, sometimes game scenario. They use their imagination, digital literacy skills, and computational skills if you're talking about the digital games. This year, the topic was about fake news and disinformation. So we received over 60 board games playing on the topic of fake news and disinformation. Could be cards playing, it could be like trivia questions. But by introducing a specific topic every year, this is the first time we introduce a specific topic, but we thought that we introduce them a specific topic, then they don't just learn about how to create a game and about game scenarios and gamification, but how to dig further and explore about the topic per se. So they went and looked, they became researchers, they retrieved relevant information and material in order to make their own games, and then we organize this award ceremony every year. I know it's a lot. This is just an example of how we are exercising media literacy increase on a national level from a policy organization. And since media literacy is an umbrella ecosystem, it is very wide, very large. That's why you would see different projects coming out of the same topic, media literacy. But I would say that media literacy is, when we're talking about media literacy, the sky is the limit. So you can use your imagination, you can use your students or audience imagination, and you can move forward co-developing material and content. This is what we've seen that is very popular, is when we engage our audience, be it students or older adults or senior citizens, when we engage them and we make them part of the game, not just teaching them, but rather facilitating them and leaving them to create their own product. Because when you are creating something of what you have discussed, this is the best way to learn and remember about it. So if we ask them to make a short film, it's because we don't want to make them film directors. We want them to learn how a film is made, the first level of production, the second level, the vision of the director, and the messages that are trying to be disseminated through the specific vision. And then we're trying to engage them with a more quality viewing. And then go to a deeper level and analyze the image in a film, for instance. That would be all for me now. I am open for questions.
Thank you so much, dear Irene. I'm really speechless. I'm really impressed with the scope of work done by EKKOMED. Thank you so much for walking us through all those very interesting and useful initiatives. And I'm pretty sure that our educators will leave this session with fresh and inspiring ideas. And before we move to the audience questions, could you please explain in just a couple of sentences, because it was in the title of our webinar, what the attention economy is for those who may be hearing this term for the first time?
Yes, great. Okay, so attention economy has to do with all the information that we are seeing every day online and mainly on social media platforms. So there is a specific term that's being used inside the media literacy umbrella. It's called platform literacy. So this is where we are trying to regulate the platforms at the European Commission, and on a national level, we're trying to make them take some measures how to protect the young minors online and young users online. Why? Because they are all enticed and linked with this attention economy. The attention economy has to do with us being engaged, being all the time in front of a screen through some addictive mechanism that the social media platforms are developing. So they have developed this addictive mechanism, forcing us to be online as long as possible every day. Why? Because if we are online, so we're giving added value to the applications, to their channels, the media channels. They're using us and they're using our attention as the main value, the main coin today. And of course, when we are subscribe ourselves to some free app, it's not free because we are offering them some personal data, such as our name, our email. It doesn't have to be very detailed, but even this data, like our email, this is what we are selling to them in order to give us for free these applications. So nothing is for free, and they are pretty skilled into doing that without us realizing. And the attention economy is a main concern because this is where all the GAFAM companies, the GAFAM are the Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple. So GAFAM are the five main digital giants, key players today that they are developing and nurturing this attention economy because they're earning from it. And if you're talking about adult users, I mean, okay, they are responsible for their own online activity. But if we're talking about minors, then this becomes even more complicated because they don't know all the different dimensions of the content that they are watching. They don't know what the algorithms are doing behind in order to get them engraved on this content every day and for many, many hours daily.
Thank you, dear Irene, for this detailed explanation. And I think my wonderful co-host from Romania, Dan Alexandru, he has something to say. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry for being late at the beginning. I was supposed to read the credentials and Mrs. Irene Andriopoulou's CV, but I didn't have the chance because of some internet connections. I do have a question for you. I was really impressed by your presentation. It was interesting, modern, up to date in many respects. So congratulations on that. Now, my question is the following. So basically, from your own international experience, what is one media literacy initiative that you believe other countries could successfully adapt?
Wow, just one. Okay, there are many. The problem today is not about developing media literacy initiatives because we have too many, I would say. The problem today is about how to choose wisely what we actually need for our own purposes. So we have a wide range of resources. Often they are projected, they are saved in some repositories. The European Commission used to have one, now they don't have any longer. But if you ask me, what's the main initiatives, media literacy initiative for me is the awareness raising campaigns, because it is very challenging to change the perception of today's heavy media users. So you need to start with an awareness campaign before starting even in schools. You need to start with an awareness campaign concerning the parents. we need to make it a reality that media literacy is not like a niche topic or something that only the academics talk about in the classroom, but it's something that concerns us all. So this is the main dimension and the main direction that the UNESCO is adopting. Media literacy is for all. Awareness raising campaigns is the first step in order to get not just the citizens being aware, but the greater challenge is to persuade the politicians, the governments that are in charge every time. So we need to persuade them what are the benefits of being media literate today. It has to do with life skills, as I mentioned in the beginning. So they are necessary civic life skills that are indispensable for everyone today. So let's start with awareness campaigns through public service television, for instance, to reach everyone, and then start creating initiatives per specific target groups.
Thank you, dear Irene. And I also have one question. We have watched this creative part of those approaches, and I have a question. Why is creativity is just as important as critical thinking when trying to navigate today's complex digital environment?
Very good question, because critical thinking, it is something that it is developed, well, in theory, in schools. So it's something that follows traditional alphabetism, like reading and writing and critical thinking. But when we're talking about the new media literacy and the new media alphabetism today, we need to move away from traditional educational norms. So we need to engage actively the students into learning how to deal with media critically, ethically, in a way that they are respecting their users online. So how to do that is to actively engage them. So let's ask them to become the real actors of this whole game. So they could create an online game and trying to persuade their friends or teach their friends about media literacy through this game or through a short film production. It is very fascinating for them when they're actually creating something, because they're seeing the end result, but with full messages on media literacy. So critical literacy is, of course, combined and integrated in the creative media literacy, but in another prism using media. So using this new media alphabetism that we find that is very popular among students.
Yes, thank you so much. Dan, do you have any question?
There is also a comment about film education and schools that they can have, yeah, indeed,
Yes.
great influence on students developing creativity, critical thinking. It's a very good combination and very very easy to in terms of a technical point of view. You can watch a film online and then you can deconstruct the different.
It's affordable. Yeah, it's affordable. Yes. And also our participants were very curious about the resources that you shared with us, the books, if they are available to download, and
Some of
especially
them
in
they are,
English.
yes. Some of them they are, and you can send me, or you, Salala, you can send me an email and you can distribute to your audience here about some English speaking publications from UNESCO and from EKKOMED, because we're working with Greek students abroad. So sometimes we have developed some of these
With big
resources.
pleasure. Thank you
But
so
all
much.
this plethora of resources is for you to get inspired on just, tiny thing of what you can do with media literacy in schools.
Wonderful. And also some of them asked us to share the slides if it's possible with them.
You're gonna upload it on the YouTube, the whole presentation, but I'm happy to share it. Yes, afterwards.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dan?
Yes. Thank you once again, Irene, for sharing your knowledge and experience with us. Thank you, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. We hope you enjoyed the session. Please don't forget to complete the attendance form and the short quiz. They'll be shared in the chat. That's all for me now.
Oh, I can see that we have one question here in the chat. So let me take a look at
It
it.
says, how does group collaboration learning help students develop media and information literacy skills?
Mhm.
We've seen it working in action, but I think that if we have teachers and educators among this group today, they are better to, more appropriate to reply to this, because group learning and group collaboration is something that it is often suggested for group projects in the classroom. This is where you assign different roles. For instance, you want to create a short film, you assign different roles per person in the classroom. So it is challenging because everybody has something to do, and all this micro-tasking at the end leads to this final end result, which is not an individual result, but it is a collective result, a film or a podcast or a media production. So this not just brings students together, but they develop new experience using the media. So they have now new memories, for instance, that it is a very bonding experience for them for future projects. Sometimes some of the projects we have group collaboration between different schools. Let's say a school in Athens and a school in Thessaloniki, or a school abroad. Also, this is very reinforcing the international networking and bonding between students of different schools working on the same project, because the bonding element here is working on the same project, and how we can all work together and put each and everyone our own, stone, our own element to make it happen.
Wonderful.
But if we have any other experiences from the educators today?
Yes, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them. We still have time, so you can type in the chat or unmute yourself.
I have a question, Shalala. What is the situation with media literacy in school education then?
Here in Azerbaijan,
Yes.
I would say that it's an evolving sphere. So we don't teach it as a subject at school. And this is just part of, let's say, journalism curriculum. So, but we are trying to do our best to popularize it, and because critical thinking is one of those very important skills in the 21st century, and we think that we have to foster these skills in our students. So we have to educate ourselves first, and then try to educate our students.
So first you start with the trainers, the educators.
Yes.
They have access to available resources and get proper training in order to be able to adjust it in the classroom.
Yes.
It is very, what is striking for us is that whenever we are introducing a media literacy project in the classroom, the students are fascinated because it's about media and they love media, even though they may be loving it the wrong way because they think that they are, experts on media, but they are very open to playing with the media, working with the media. And as educators, we're trying to deconstruct the media. They don't know that, but they are very open on working with media because this is their natural environment.
Yes, and also we want to show to our educators that this is not like a burden. This is not, yes, some extra work. So you can easily integrate it into your curriculum and into your lessons. So thank you so much again, dear Irene, for this inspiring session. It was a pleasure to watch all those things that you do with your organization. It was amazing. And I would also like to thank our audience for being active, for being with us till the end, listening attentively. And we look
Alala, I have a
forward.
question. Can I
Yes,
interrupt you?
yes, Mensur, feel free.
Okay. I just wanted to ask you, at what ages are the best to teach, students? Is the best to teach students in primary school and high school media literacy? Even though we think that in primary school they are very young, but they use media maybe more than high school students. So I'm asking a short
Yes,
answer.
Irene,
If you
please.
could give me, any one of you, what do you think is the best, primary school or high
Very
school, to
good
be taught
question.
media literacy?
Nice question. Yeah.
It's a very good
Thank you.
question because most of the people, they think that we should start media literacy in secondary school education, where students are more mature to approach things that have to do with media, democracy, freedom of expression, and all these. But this is the advanced level. We can start with visual literacy, visual media literacy from kindergarten, from preschool, where we are talking about moving images and for instance, TV advertising. We have developed some projects in the past on TV advertising, and so even at a very young age, they can be taught, kids, how to recognize that this is an advertising. So they're trying to sell you things. Oh, this is an advert game. This is a game that you're playing online, but it tries to sell you something. You are the consumer of it. We are trying to, we challenge them to create moving images and stories through animation or animating their drawings and discussing about the topic of today. So it is more in a gameplay character in preschool and primary school, but certainly since kids today are born in front of a screen, it's not right, of course, but this is where we need to educate their parents. And then once kids, they are in front of a screen, preferably after 4 years old, they should know what is true and what is representation. This is something that we can exercise with younger ages.
Yeah, wonderful. So no age limits.
No age limit.
We just have to adapt maybe materials.
Ideally, there are some studies in the UK that they are talking about 2 years old. But for us, it's not recommended to watch, let alone play games from that young age. So that's why I'm putting 4 years old, which is the age that they have developed some sense of critical viewing.
Yes.
And I put on the chat this Team Lead, which is an massive open online course for teachers who want to talk about media literacy in the classroom. So it's an entry-level MOOC, massive open online course, available in English and in other languages. So feel free to get back to me and I can direct you, Shalala, for your community here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And
Thank you very much.
thank you. And we look forward to seeing you all in August at our next webinar. And until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay media literate.
Stay critical.
Yes, stay critical. So thank you and goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, Shalala, for the invitation and for the chance to present not just what we're doing, but sharing what we're doing with you and your experiences. So thank you very much.
It was our honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening. See you.
Have a lovely weekend.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.